Jeremiah 23 and Hoods. We're going to go through Mike Tyson speaks at a prison reentry conference. Check him on YouTube. We're going to listen in, and he's going to tell you, about his testimony.
Horrible relationships. You would think I'm great, right? I mean, I suck in relationships like that. But no, I come from that kind of world where everything was dog eat dog. If you had money, if you had jewelry, if you couldn't defend your stuff or protect it, you were getting took and you were going to get killed. And all my life I've seen murders and robberies, and I became a part of that. And I took the choice to become a part of it because when you think about it, I have a brother who's like one of the top trauma surgeons in the country. I had a sister who was a teacher before she passed. And so I come from a very educated background. I never passed the 9th grade because I was just so entrenched into the street world. I was just really allured to that. That was really what I wanted to be because you saw instant gratification as far as respect was concerned. In the street world, I didn't have much patience, and that's what I wanted. So I started getting involved with crime at a young age. My first arrest, I guess I was 10 years old, my first arrest. Pickpocket, jostling. And so when I went to the institution, I realized I'm in this funk. All my friends are here. Everybody that saw me in the streets, pickpocketing other guys from different boroughs, and I got addicted to it even more. So I wasn't afraid to go to jail anymore. And so I became a more advanced criminal, so to speak.
Notice he just said he wasn't afraid to go to jail anymore. In Africa, in our original homeland, before the West got there, there was no prisons, just chiefs running tribes and tribal leaders. Think about that.
I remember one day we were in a house, we were robbing somebody's house, and I was talking to my friend, when I was whispering, I was talking to my friend, and there was someone else in the house, and I thought I was talking to my friend. So as I told him, I heard somebody, we both were leaving the house, and my friend, who thinks he's a professional, he tried to lock the door, but the guy came, opened the door, and blew his brains out right there. Yeah, and I ran. I was 12, he must have been 14. I ran, because that's what you do, you try to get away. And I ran, and you would think that God, that we just send somebody straight. They're saying that me and my other friends, we hooked up a little bit later, let's get another house. And that's just what it was. This is how we lived our life. Most of my friends are pretty much dead, else they got so much time. I'm going to visit some guys tomorrow. And they got caught under this Rockefeller law. They got 240 years. One of my friends got 5 life sentences. He's only 50. And so these are the people that I go see once a month, sometimes twice a month, because these are my friends. These are who we grew up. These are the guys I stayed over their house when my mother was doing what she was doing. These are my family, and that's what I do. I go see all my.
So as you hear him say what his friends are doing, and that Big Meech told his testimony, if you don't take the 35 years when it's dealing with anything racketeering or kilos of cocaine, it only takes the testimony of the snitch or the person who's cooperating to save his hide. Just the testimony. You didn't have to touch no dope. That's 35. If you don't take it, I believe Big Mitch is right, you will get the life sentence. I know a person doing 99 years and he was nowhere near any dope. And I think what dope was caught on his brother was a ½ ounce. And he's nowhere near his homeboys. He's in Texas, federal. So you could get up at 3 o'clock in the morning and go to work and you ain't got no homies. So think about it.
And they'll be so intrigued to know I'm at this particular type of event talking about the situation when we were talking about, I was hearing them talking about these hard laws and helping people when they get out. It's going to be a real neat trick to do that because those laws was the guidelines to put them in there for a long time because people don't want them to ever come out and still get $60,000 from them, or us, so to speak. So, I'm one of those guys. So I went away in this other prison institution, and it's called Tryon. So I'm in Tryon, and I'm kind of like a badass guy. So if somebody said something, he pulled at my hat, so I stabbed some guy, and I went to another correction. Then I went there. gentleman by the name of Bobby Student. He started teaching me how to box because I thought I was a tough guy. I didn't know anything about being a tough guy, but I thought I was. And so I went there, and it was so ironic. He didn't want me to go because I kept improving. I broke his nose. He was a professional fighter, and I'm 12 years old. And so I had this miraculous. This was just such an opportunity. I met a gentleman by the name of Custom, an old Italian man, and when I went there, he talked to me. He talked to me for 2 weeks. He was talking. I thought he was a pervert because he was saying all these things that I'm beautiful and I can do this. But when I sparred, I was getting shellacked. So I knew there was no way that he would think that I was a good fighter. But he saw something that I still don't see what he saw to this day. I don't know how it worked. And he said that I was gonna be champ. I was gonna do all this stuff, and that's what made me think this is a perfect. Where I come from, everybody's trying to, it's a perv. I live in Perv City, but everybody's trying to do this. No, this is real talk, though. I'm talking to you, man. So I started listening to this Italian guy, and he teaches me to fight. And I'm 14 years old. I win this national championship, then I win this junior national championship. I'm breaking records. I knock a guy out in 8 seconds. How did that happen? And he still told me I was imperfect. I was wrong. I was flawed. So I didn't know how that worked, and I just started listening to him. I said, when I went back home, I was getting ready to do some more robberies, because every now and then I would go back to Brooklyn and do robberies and come back, because the state was paying them like $150 a month, and that wasn't even paying for my pants and my sneakers. So I always went back home and did robberies and came back with nice.
Now, stop it right there. Now, GR, I believe it is, General Relief, in California, back in the day, it used to be $200. Now, all that went away. Now, add felons. Now add that to getting jobs without expungements. So you that are about to repeat crime and get caught, you might want to really think, man, if you don't have a record, or if you have a record, if it takes 5 years to get it off your record, then to get it expunged off, what are you going to do, man? If you get in trouble during the time of the 5 years, and they make you hold out, starving you out for 5 years. Look at that. It would be cool if they can expunge them within, a short period of time after release. That is a giant, a Goliath. The time to expunge, the survival rate with no income, no job, and everything going sky high. So in his case, he didn't have enough money to even feed himself. So I suggest that's why they help each other with the drugs, and it's so tied to the temptation. If there were more help to the family members where they live and they saw it, your organization or group, or it gains respect and it gives hope, like cars on the tire, or insurance, or a car, or anything, medicine, some kind of giving to a family. When the guy gets out, before it gets out, you know who has people in prison, your collective group, and you start sowing then to the family, especially women with the kids. What a ministry that would be. And then when they get out, they see the love. It might cause them to see the goodness of God, taste and see and choose, I'm going to suffer this out till I expunge my record and do it right. That's one way. Community can help. Hoods can help each other, and the little things, energy bills. We know the government does it. If the tribe decides to take care of, if it was no prisons and all a chief and tribal members in the homeland, then we can do it. We can get each other's backs. I got your back with the cash. Or the cartel's going to suck up all continuously. are young males. And that's a big temptation, because as they get shaken down and catch cases on GP, man, the gap between them getting proper work and in the system correctly is just so gaps, man, that who's going to repair the breach and put something in place for them to transition? I think it's going to take a tribe to come to the aid of each member getting out of prison, especially if you guys are associated with any kind of churches or whoever you are out there. If you want to see the person as you pray for them convert, we must empower them with the things that they need. Just a suggestion.
I told him that my friends gave me these clothes because the older brother can't fit them anymore. Something some ridiculous story. And one day when we were going to do another robbery, a friend of mine just told me, "No, you're with those white people, Mike. Stay with them. These people love you, Mike. I saw you win this champion." So my friend that told me that, me and him was together one day. We went by a dice game, and we know these guys. These are our friends, guys we grew up with. But something was different. I saw them when we looked at the dice game. We didn't gamble, but they looked at each other. No one said hi. I said, "What's up?" They would say hi to me, but they didn't talk to him. And so we left, and a week later they told me that they killed him. And so and my friend saw me and said, "Mike, man, you walked off the game with him. I thought you were killed too." Because I didn't know these guys were having this little secret war, because I was just coming back and forth. I didn't know the information. And so ever since my friend died, I stayed up there and never came back, and I became successful. And I became champion at 20 years old, the youngest champion ever. I won titles. I had everything in the world, but I still had that darkness in me. I had hundreds of millions, I had money, but I still had that darkness in me. That darkness wasn't out of me yet. And I got in a whole bunch of trouble. I got involved with people who had made me no good. And I lost a lot of money. I kept getting lawsuits. I had lawsuits this, lawsuit here, lawsuit here. Now, most of my money I tricked off on lawsuits. You know what I mean? You could listen. If I spend $250 million on girls and trips and clothes, that's nothing to what I did on lawsuits, okay? So they really got me good with those lawsuits, but I still didn't have peace. Sometimes I still had that old darkness from back before, and then because of course my father and mother they're addicts, and I'm not fighting anymore, and I have nothing to do. Why not I become an addict? Because that's just how it goes, right? So I become this addict now, because I always drink my whole life, never stopped drinking, and I became this addict. I've been getting in a lot of trouble. What happened? I had some kids from being an addict. I married some people from during my addict stage, and excuse me, I'm sorry. So listen, and so I started going through this process of I'm clean. So I get clean for a year. I get clean for 5 years, but then I relapse. And the reason why I relapsed because I didn't have a spiritual awakening. I just wasn't using drugs. I wasn't sober. I just wasn't using drugs and liquor. I just wasn't using. I was miserable, right? So eventually I received that spiritual awakening, and this is listen, trust me. Listen, when I'm at the height of my career, I don't want to make this long, but listen, at the height of my career, I got 40 million to fire. I'm doing this. I'm going. I got boats. I got planes. I got everything. But they wouldn't touch me. A cartoon wouldn't touch me with a 1,000,000-foot pole. Now I got the #1 cartoon on television. I got an Emmy. I got a Golden Globe. This is ridiculous stuff. I don't believe this is true, but yeah, I got I'm not perfect yet, but I'm just trying to get this stuff on track. And
order is just alignment. What God wants from all of us.
Show for my children. I'm able to go to the best schools in the country. I got a daughter that graduated from first George Washington, that's in D.C. Then she went to Georgetown. Now she's in Drexel. That's Philadelphia somewhere, right? Well, she's in Drexel now. I got a daughter. My 19-year-old is in NYU. She's a director and stuff. I have this other young kid. He's trying to go to where's he trying to go? This guy, he's a character. I have an 18-year-old son that me and him, we crash. We get some advice from some older people, but something's just not happening here. And I'm just very grateful that my kids are able to go to schools. And sometimes they tease me because I don't spell as well as they spell. And I'm not advanced scholastically as well as they are. But I'm just happy that I'm able to put them in that position. You know, and I just wish... and they give me a hard time because they think because I do this, they have to do that, they think I'm a show-off. But the fact is, if they had my parents, then they would really have something to talk about. I wish she had my father, because my children, believe it or not, I have a 27. They never received a beating before. I received beatings just by look. I can remember being in Royal Farm. See, they don't have Royal Farm. You guys remember Royal Farm, right? The real cheap. Just had being beaten in the corner because my mother couldn't afford something. And I'm just really grateful to be here talking to you. And even though I got sucker punched being the keynote speaker at this time, I haven't really
Well, let me say this. On his testimony, man, as you can see, God established the solitude in the families, the legacy, the generation seed. Now he's enjoying one plucked from the fire. And how did he get delivered? Did he bootstrap? He did his part to line up to meet the place of his destiny, where he was in the receptive mode, not only in his brain and in his sukkah, his soul, his mind, will, and emotions, but even in his physicalness. He was using all his efforts towards receiving, bounce back, getting off drugs, etc. And in the end, if we allow, by yielding to the Spirit of God to give us the strength to resist the things that will destroy us from proclivity, thought, etc., then we, in the end, should be blessed with the enjoyment of seeing, community thrive regardless of conditions and circumstances. People, some are going to not make it, some are. God loves us all the same. So, if he can do it, right? In the end, he had to change. He had to go the other way. He repented. He went down the road of faith and believed for opportunity. He hoped against hope. But one thing about it, he didn't do it by himself. He was helped. That's the point I'm trying to make. That's the point Jeremiah 23 and the HOODS trying to make. Love above all things. So he needed a collective force to rescue him, the one. So what do you think God is saying to your group?
I'm really grateful for my life now. I'm really grateful. I'm really just really grateful for Allah. I just was able to just do this because I chose I was going to be different. I was going to live that life anymore, and I was going to be the person I wanted to be. And everything I was doing in my past life, I was champion, but that prevented me from being the man that I wanted to be. And I could pretty much say I'm on the course of being the person I want to be. I have dignity, I have self-respect, and anybody can just look at me and see what I'm doing. Thank you.
Well, you heard his testimony. And, he was able to make that break from prison, transition from trouble, prison, from prison, back to the streets, and by angels and the grace of God, when those opportunities came. Out of the contrast, his friend, who was killed in front of him going back to survival mode with robberies, even though he was boxing. Through it all, God didn't judge him. God helped him, rescued him in the end for his enjoyment of whatever and whoever in his posterity or family or lineage or whatever legacy of his seed. Let me speak to those males. Legacy of the seeds. And that battle was over the seed. The spiritual warfare would be over them. So, there you have it. If we sow the curse, wickedness, like hate, harm, violence, murder, and foolishness and ignorance, that's not a legacy to live to our kids. He was rescued to leave the proper legacy and to empower his kids. So the battle is for the seed. So when you make those choices, you look at that baby's eyes and say, I made that choice for you too. And if you can't do that, then you might as well get out the car, bro. You see what I'm saying? That's the truth of the matter. What he said about the guys that got all that time, for 50 years, 5 life sentence, all of that, yeah, they'll never have that opportunity. So if you're out on those streets, you might want to reconsider, man. If you're bouncing in and out of prison, and what you do is each of your family members out there help pay for their expungement of their record, $1,000, something like that. Google it, and then piece up that money and get that record clean. You gotta trust God after that, brother. Nobody else, but the Lord will lead you. He will be your shepherd. You shall not want if you call upon his name. It's real talk. Back in 1980, that happened to me. I'm still here. I was raised in South Central Los Angeles, 1971, Manchester, and Western. Baby Cribs used to meet at St. Andrews Park, the bowling alley, and Sportsman Park. Anybody know about the West Side Cribs? Tookie Earl Jamel. I can go down the line. Curtis, Pookie, Michael Conception, all these cats that were Earl, Jamel, a bunch of guys, man, Baycott, Hillbilly. We just gotta understand that we go way back, and God is able to keep us. But I called on his name. I asked the Holy Spirit to help me, and he did. He kept me when I got saved. My life was in his hand. Well, before I got saved, I gave my life to the Lord, Yeshua. He kept me because they did have me in the house kidnapped with the gun, and it was trying to blow the brain with the gun jammed. Tried to beat me to death, but they beat me out of the one door where the 8 guys were. And I got away miraculous. And not to mention bullets past the head and being chased where you gotta climb trees to hide. And it's just crazy. All down by Fig, 108 Fig and 108. Man, I used to live over there. They just shoot at you. So, lanes and stuff like that, man. So South Central LA, God brought me from. I've been around the block now, talking with gang members for 40 years, since 1981. And I've been and received Yeshua as my Lord and Savior and the Holy Spirit. And no, nothing's been perfect, but you get the grace. You see, because you're thankful. If you can keep that one, and that grace will help you in your taste buds want a desire to do the right thing strong enough to overcome the desire to just say, F it, I'm not going to do nothing. I'm just going to go out like this. So I understand the temptation. God doesn't condemn you, But if you are getting out of prison, your homies, just think about it, bro. If they could go straight, in the long run, they get to be and enjoy the things that God, the best blessing, is what we just saw right here. He's enjoying his children, And if you lost children, God is able to give you more children. And if you don't have none, there are plenty to go around that you can disciple. And that kind of legacy is what we need. These kids don't deserve to die, man. And we got to keep it 100 if we're going to reach them. And helping their relatives in our groups, go to our churches, in our communities, our elders, their family members, their people locked up. We can help the women as they travail with those kids. Find somebody, reach out, make impact, and be ready to receive a harvest from the brothers from prison. Jeremiah 23. So we're going to stop it right there. We just want to say this, that Yeshua said, that you will know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Truth is not bound. So when we go in and out of prison, we're simply probably resisting truth that has come to our life, because God is faithful, and he is faithful to the unfaithful and takes no pleasure in the death of the wicked. So he's going to send signs, wonders. He's going to get your attention through your children. He's going to give you the truth. Now, them that love banging, love slanging, and I understand people that do things for survival purposes. I understand the pain and why you can't forgive. That's where the miraculous comes in. The truth is, if you do let it go, God will heal your heart. Then you'll be free from being bound in prison, because you received the truth. And for the love of the truth, you have to love truth. If you hate truth, you will be bound, whether it be bound by proclivities, bound by prison, or just bound in the mind, in prison, in our own heads, influenced by lies. So you better watch who's standing close to you and what they're feeding you, and the influence upon your life. Because if a group of people decide we're going to go this way and it's not in the truth, the Bible talks about a man when they were going to kill, I think it was Apostle Paul, that they were told, no, when the apostles were beaten and put in prison, there was a man that told the Pharisees before they were going to kill him, he said, listen, man, there was a guy who led away a group of men who called himself somebody great, and he led them where they all perished. So in other words, they followed them right off the cliff. Why is that? They were not in the truth. They were opposing truth. And so he said to them, the ones that would have killed those apostles when they were in prison, he said, don't fight against this unless you happily find yourself fighting against God, and all that follow you perish. Look what happened with Hitler and different dictators and different people that have walked in lies and leading people to their own destruction. So truth is your only friend that can keep you free. And even if you're in prison for something not of your fault, you can be free wherever you are, as long as you know the truth, and as long as we practice the truth and walk in the light that we have, but more importantly, love the truth. Because you can love a lie. So anyone trying to influence you to gangbang or be part of the cartel or not to get your life right, and even though they, in their own sincere, twisted way, may be trying to be your homie, the bottom line is, remember, if it's not the truth, you will not be free. That's why we have so many brothers in prison that go to prison, because they were influenced by a lie. Whether it was in their childhood or they chose that lie and chose death at a later age. The consequences are all the same. We sow into that lie, we reap the consequences of that lie. Only the truth will snatch you and keep you from the consequences of the destruction of a lie. Gangbanging is a lie. Because why is that? All our homies been locked up and dead. So we know the road wills destruction. You can fool your own self. You can be delusional in the end. You can love your homies without going out there and destroying yourself, where you don't even get to see your kids or your grandkids. And if you think you're going to get away with just selling drugs, eventually they're going to catch you. And where they going to send you? To a place like Texas. So we don't have time for that. And we just want to say Jeremiah 23 in hoods. God bless you out there. And try to keep your eyes on the truth. No matter who it comes to, nobody has the block on lock. Truth will flow through anyone at any given time. Your group don't have it. Your religion don't have it. Truth can flow through a donkey. The prophet Baal was on his way to curse the children of Israel. And the donkey turned around and said, listen, as he told that donkey, you go forward. And the Bible says that God opened the mouth of the donkey. He said, I've been your donkey this long. It says, but there's an angel standing right there. And God opened Baal's eyes. He saw that angel with that sword going the wrong way, loving power, loving fame, wanting status. That's what he was trying to sell him out for. In other words, he was going the wrong way. God spoke through the donkey. So God speaks to doctors, God speaks to lawyers, the criminal system as it is. God spoke through the Ten Commandments. God is still speaking today through nature, through the stars, through the trees, through nature in itself. When you see nature out of control, things out of alignment, that means there's things done in this earth that's out of alignment, which has cause and effect in the earth realm. So truth will set you free, will set me free if we love that truth, if we want to be free. Jeremiah 23 in HOODS, man, I'll give you guys the last word.